Good day, good day, good day. Almost afternoon. It is an Indian summer here in the Midwest, especially in central Missouri. Last couple days have been nice. The temperatures have been anywhere from mid 70s to low 80s. In fact, yesterday and today we had our house open up to let the fresh breeze come and go and, air out the house basically before the big chill. Um, I had a video last night, but somehow in the middle of the night, being half awake, half asleep, trying to do it, I deleted it. Oops. Um, yes, there's a way to recover it, but under the circumstances, I'm not going to recover it. I'm just going to let it be. Because being half awake, half asleep, I tend to just ramble. I do that all the time, anyhow. um, But I jumped on here at this early hour to let you guys know that one, everything's going great around here. Got a lot of work done. Two, Jerry and I will be live together tonight around 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So that would be like 8 o'clock Eastern Time. 6 o'clock Mountain Time and 5 o'clock or 5 or 4 o'clock Western Time. I think I got that right. As you can tell, I have my lights on. I don't know. I'm not gonna tiptoe around everybody's feelings and whatnot. I am who I am. If you can't tell, behind me, I'm getting stuff ready for to finish up my apothecary station with my crystals and whatnot. Don't worry. I will not be doing anything for negative purposes. Everything I do is for a positive purpose. Whether it's, you know, protective spell jars or herbal remedies, things of that nature. But that's what it is right now. But excuse me. I still have some cleaning up in here before I'm totally done. We were talking about doing that earlier today, and I was just kind of like, I don't know, I'm not feeling all that great. I'm a little sore and stiff. I did push myself to do a little bit more than I wanted to yesterday because yesterday was my birthday and still celebrating it. It's my birthday weekend. Tomorrow I go into work at, I'll have to be there by 4. So yeah, if you guys haven't found out yet, I do have a different job. I'm feeling better for it because it's right up my alley. It's what I'm used to doing. As for the job with college, well, the main reason why I left was the stress, the lack of proper payment or income. And Tuesday when I left, I already had the new job lined up. But what really pushed me over the edge was one of my coworkers trying to deny the truth and the knowledge I had about what happened with my what's been happening, I should say, when I'm not there. And I don't know why I got so upset about it because I'm not. I think I was more upset because the one side got screwed up and the other side got burnt to a crisp, and it I don't worry about it no more. It's out of my hands. I just, I gave up. I gave up dealing with the BS. I gave up with dealing with improper income. And it's not me, it's like everybody. Um, I just got so fed up with one thing or another that I just kind of went, I'm done. I'm done. I don't need to stay there anymore. I got a better job. You know. But what really made me leave was because of the other person and her laziness and trying to act like she's always the victim or, Queen of Sheba and not pulling her own weight. I just, I'm done. I was done. And I walked. But besides all that, what really made me walk was she was making me so mad that I was starting to see blood. And I don't mean just like my eyes were starting to bleed or anything like that, but that proverbial, you're getting to that level of anger that you want to just reach out and tear somebody up physically. And I knew that no, I had to get away. I had to leave the situation. Otherwise, yeah, it would not be pretty. Because when it gets to the point where it's rising up to here, and I lose all sense of self and consciousness, and I just guess the only way I can describe it, because it's happened once before. It's actually happened twice before, but the second time I walked away from the situation. Um, Actually, I didn't walk away from the situation the second time. The second time, the person who was causing me to lose my control was basically, she was able to shake me back to reality. But the first time it happened was with my cousin Debbie in Arizona, and well, I'm not going to give details, but I literally lost myself, and it wasn't until a day or so later that I realized why my shoulder was hurting, because my mom dug her nails into my shoulder trying to keep me from beating the crap out of my cousin. So ever since then, I've been trying to keep it under control and trying to walk away from situations before they get out of control. But, that's not here nor there. It's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about how things have gotten better in the last, just since Tuesday, things have gotten better. Tuesday evening, I went into orientation day, did my orientation paperwork, got some of the computer training done, and then Thursday, or was it Wednesday? No, it was Wednesday. It was Thursday because when they asked me when I wanted to start, I asked if I can start on Thursday because I had to take Jerry to her eye doctor's appointment, and that kind of that would have interfered. But Thursday when I went in, everything was like, hey, meet the crew, or most of the crew. Sorry, talking too much and not breathing enough. Two of the guys that I work with now are old co-workers from two different places. But I had no problem jumping in and helping customers and slicing meats and, cleaning up machines and learning how they operate. And it was like, we don't really have to teach you anything. I was like, no, the only thing you really have to teach me is or to find the codes for certain foods and whatnot. I knew just by looking at the storage bags that they use for the meats and cheeses, where the code is, or the PLU for punching into the machine to get the right coding and pricing and whatnot for the meats and cheeses. So it was like no big deal. I had no problems. So I feel that I've gotten in with the right group or right crew or the right I don't know, the right place to work. I'm not tired. It's just like I said, I start talking about something I'm um impassioned by. I forget to breathe sometimes. But anyhow, now I've gotten that out of the way, yes, look for me and Jerry about 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I don't know if we're going to have Lisa or anybody else moderating. I will be there to moderate. And I'm already going to say this much, especially to those who are not fans of ours, who just want to cause problems. We're not going to tolerate it. You come in to cause problems, you're out. Your comment will get removed and you will get removed as well, because I will not tolerate on a live, especially anybody attacking my wife. And I'm pretty sure Jerry will be the same way about people attacking me. So if you're going to sit there and listen to our spiel, whatever you want to call it, yeah. I was going to do a live Sunday, but I work Sunday, so it's kind of hard for me to do lives on the days I work, because I work evenings, which is what I prefer. I'm not a morning bird. You have me trying to get up before 10 o'clock, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, and yeah. No. But anyhow, since I still have some time, we're going to jump into the Viking handbook. I'm going to read you some of the stuff. And where we're at now is basically the Vikings abroad, sailing to new worlds. Now, two things you got to realize. When the Vikings became seafaring folk, which they already were because they were fishermen before they became Vikings. Vikinger is basically the old world term for a pirate. Vikings were not a people. Vikings were an occupation for going out and finding new territories, and if they had to, raid, pillage, plunder, the whole 9 yards. But it was the Vikings who were the first ones to discover how to sail large expansions of ocean to get from Scandinavia, which was basically Finland, Norway, Sweden, Denmark, and upper Germany, the northern part of Germany. And they had to sail from their home territories. It's easy to sail along the coastline because it's like, okay, the coastline, if you keep the coastline in your vision, you know you're close to land. But when they figured out how to build a boat that can cross from Norway down into Britain, that was an accomplishment, because nobody else had ever sailed a very large expansion of ocean. Now, the Egyptians and Romans and Greeks during that time, yes, their boats were sturdy to deal with the storms and weather and whatnot for the Mediterranean, but they never went outside of the Mediterranean. While the Norwegians, or the Scandinavians, I should say, the Vikingers, they learned how to sail across a large expansion of ocean without land in view for days on end. They were the first ones to really learn how to sail the ocean with just the stars and the position of the sun, things like that. Now, boat building. Here's the original story. The Vikings traveled by ship wherever they went. Whether raiding, exploring, or trading, the Viking Age existed as a milestone in history because of their ships, fast, flexible, seaworthy enough for the Atlantic, but shallow enough for rivers and coastal waters. So wherever did they come from? Sorry. My mind is very excited. My body is a little tore up. So I'm having issues reading, so forgive me. The distinctive hull of the Viking longship evolved over time in the centuries leading up to the Viking Age, but strictly as a rowing boat. So basically back then, before they put sails on their ships, it was basically manpower, not wind power. The ships discovered at Sutton Hoo in Suffolk, England, can be considered a forerunner of the Viking ship. It was used for a royal burial around 625. After more than 1,300 years underground, all the timber had rotten away, but the distinct impression it left in the hard-packed sand revealed a clinker-built structure of overlapping planks pointed at both ends. In other words, like our boats nowadays, you look at a Viking ship without a mast or without a sail. The only way you can tell which end was front, which one was back, was look for the rudder. Look for the guy holding onto the rudder to steer the ship. Because a lot of times the rowers would be facing towards the rear of the ship and not the front, or vice versa, depending on, are they trying to back the ship up or are they trying to move it forward. It took hundreds of years for Scandinavians to start using masts and sails in their ships, which is a bit mystifying since the Romans had already introduced sailing ships to their North Seas. But once they caught on, sails sparked a maritime golden age. I'm going to stop there before we get into the building of a Nordic ship. Yes, the Romans and the people of the Mediterranean had already discovered masts and sails to help them move around the waters of the Mediterranean. Now, most of the Roman Empire, to get from Rome all the way up to Britain, they marched. And during this campaign of marching, anything and everything that was in front of them that was not of Roman origin was either destroyed or taken over. That's why most of the European countryside is dotted with old Roman structures. Now, for the most part, when you start getting towards northern Europe, where the Germanic tribes lied, the Romans had difficulties with the Germanic tribes. So for the most part, instead of trying to make the Germanic tribes into the Roman Empire, they just tried to slaughter them, which was not a smart move, because a lot of the Germanic tribes, towards as you got closer to like Denmark or Scandinavia at the time, they were mean, hardy, weren't going to take much, sitting down. Now Rome, I don't know if they built boats or what they did, but Rome somehow got across what we now call the English Channel from France to Britain. Now Britain, for the most part, because they had not seen, by the time the Romans came around, they had not seen Roman centurions or anything like that. So they were easily pacified or annihilated. It wasn't until the Romans got to Hadrian's Wall, or what we now call Hadrian's Wall, that they realized that what we now call Scotland, the people of Scotland, aka the Picts, did not accept they had already gotten news, probably already reached them to say, hey, we got a foreign, we got a foreign army on, Britain, and they're slaughtering everybody that doesn't, bow down to them. And every time Roman centurions or a group of Roman centurions would go into the area of Scotland, and the Picts basically annihilated them and maybe left one bloody, battered, or bruised centurion soldier to go, don't go there. We got attacked from I don't know where. They came from us from the side, from above and below, simultaneously. But what made the Roman Empire retreat from Britain and most of Northern Europe was the three strongest tribes of Northern Europe, or Germanic Europe, said, "No, we got to push back. We got to make these people pay for all the slaughter and all the damage they did." And literally, the three warlords of three different Germanic tribes, Goth, Visigoth, and Visigoth, as they marched south towards Rome, they were gathering armies upon armies upon armies. I mean, it looked like the whole of Northern Europe came alive and crawled out of the woodworks and said, "Yeah, oh yeah, you going down towards Rome to get back what we deserve? So be it." This army created by these three different tribes was so massive that everything and anything that was of the Roman Empire that was in their way was destroyed. People, homes, castles. Basically, they repaid the Roman Empire blood for blood. Not something that most historians want to hear about when it comes to their native people or the people they came from. But you got to realize back then it was, conquer or be conquered. Well, the German tribes that got together to go up against the Roman Empire, the only reason why they did what they did was because it was payback. Now, I'm not saying this is something we should do on a regular basis, but it was during those times, that's what it was. It was like, oh, okay, you're going to kill half my people, I'm going to destroy all yours. These three armies, massive armies, was at the doorstep of the Roman Empire, ready to just rip it apart. And when they got to the capital city of the Roman Empire, which is now Rome itself, I don't know what Caesar it was or what leader it was like, whoa, Okay, I understand what the deal is. I understand we basically did you wrong and you're repaying it, but how can I keep you from wiping out my entire empire? And basically, what ended up happening was the three major Germanic tribes got exactly what they wanted and nearly bankrupt Rome. Now, the point of the story is not about the boats. The point of the story is simple. When the Norsemen, when the Vikings, when the Scandinavians, however you want to call them, discovered sails, it made it easier for them to travel to different parts of the known world. They partially colonized Britain. They um, they were able to get upriver. They traveled upriver in their boats to Paris and laid siege to Paris. It made it easier for them to travel to places like the Mediterranean to trade. Made it easier to get to the major trade roads from Europe to Asia, China, that place. Um, so it was one of those kind of like, you know, major accomplishment because they can now travel anywhere and everywhere. And because of the way their boats were made, they weren't just able to travel, the North Atlantic, some of the roughest seas in the world, except for that area in between Russia and Alaska, the Bering Straits, basically. Um, they were able to get their crafts out. I mean, before the sails, a lot of people would come to a certain city, and I can't remember the name of the city. It was on the border of what we now call Sweden and, or is it Finland? No, I think it's Sweden and Denmark. There's a major trade city where people from all over Europe would come to trade with the Norsemen or the Norsemen with the other different tribes and whatnot of Europe. But when the Norsemen discovered the Silk Road, that Turkey, Istanbul, was like the place to go to trade from silks from China and gold and silver and whatnot from various parts of Asia. It was an accomplishment to be able to sell their boats full of their goods to Istanbul, set up a place in the center market basically and trade, you know. But we'll hear more about the boats tomorrow. Um, you know, it's one of those things that, it interesting times. But anyhow, sorry I was fumbling with reading because sometimes my mind and my mouth don't want to work. So yeah, but we'll see you guys later on tonight. Have a good day. Bye.